So we look at question 5. They say function here is 2x minus 3 over x minus 1 then x plus 3. So reciprocal function, or we call it rational function. So they ask us to find the domain. So this is our topic 5 domain part. So in rational function, when we want to find our domain, it is our special case here. So where our domain is, how we find it is, our denominator part cannot equal to 0. So means here it will be x minus 1, x plus 3 cannot equal to 0. So our x cannot equal to 1, our x cannot equal to negative 3. So that will be our domain. So in order to write it clearly, so domain function, it will be start from negative infinity until 1, not included. So we go for negative 3 first, from the smaller to the bigger. Negative 3 not included. And then continue negative 3 until 1 not included, and then 1 until infinity. So this is our domain. When x is not equal to 1, so we take out the value 1. When x is not equal to negative 3, so we take out the value of negative 3. So this is our domain interval. Then they say B, find the x-intercept and y-intercept. So for x-intercept means that it will intersect x-axis. So when that intersect x-axis, means that our y will be equal to 0. Let y coordinate will be 0, we find our x-intercept. So means that 2x minus 3 over equals to 0. So we can multiply our denominator here up to the right hand side 0. So it will give us 0. Then we can find our x-intercept is 3 over 2. Meanwhile, for y-intercept means they will going to intersect y-axis. So when we intersect y-axis, our x coordinate will be 0. When x equals to 0, so substitute into our function here. Here will be minus 3, and then 0 minus 1, and then 0 plus 3. So our y-intercept here, it will be positive 1. So we write it. So this is just our x value and y value. We have to answer it correctly using the correct mathematical terms. So x-intercept is 3 over 2. Y-intercept is 1. Then we proceed. Find the vertical asymptote. So vertical asymptote, we will refer to our domain. Where x not equal to 1, x not equal to negative 3, that will be our vertical asymptote occurring. So we have to find it out, means we have to calculate it out by using the idea of limit. So we start from the x equals to negative 3, we are going to calculate limit x approaches negative 3 from the left hand side, for our function. So you'll notice that when we substitute our x equals to negative 3 here, so this is negative 6, negative 3, it becomes to negative 9. And then when we substitute here negative 3, it becomes 0. When it over 0, it will give us infinity. So one part we have to take notes here is whether this 0 is approaches from left hand side or right hand side. So since our negative 3 here is approaches from left hand side, means the value that close to the negative 3 from the left hand side, our testing value will be x equals to negative 3.01. So when we put it into this part, it is definitely negative. So when we put into this part, it is negative. So negative become, this x will be approaches 0 negatively. So when we have negative over negative, our answer will be equal to positive infinity. So we repeat for limit approaches -3 from the right hand side. When we substitute -3, so they will give us same answer, -9 over, so -3 plus 3 also 0. Just want to make sure this 0 is approaches from the left hand side or right hand side. So -3 from the right hand side means our testing value here will be less than -3, -2.99. So if this is -2.99 means our 0 here is approaches positive. So we'll get negative infinity. And then we repeat for another point. So our another point here will be x equals to 1. Limit when x approaches 1 from the left hand side. So 2 minus 3 is -1 over 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is 1 from the left hand side means 0.9. So when we put 0.9 here, our approaches 0 here will be negative. So therefore it will give us positive infinity. So approaches 1 from the right hand side. So it is same situation. 2 minus 3 -1. So when you put 1 here is 0. So 1 from the right hand side means 1.0. If 1.0 you put here, our 0 approaches here will be positive. So it will give you negative infinity. So you'll notice that when we using the x value which is undefined, our function also will going to infinity. So they definitely won't stop at the point. They will go up infinity close to the asymptote. So therefore from this result we can conclude out the vertical asymptote here are, we have two vertical asymptote which is x equals to -3, another one is x equals to 1. Then finally question D, they ask us to find limit at infinity. So when we have limit at infinity, substitute in our function 2x minus 3 over x minus 1 x plus 3. So you can notice that when we substitute infinity, it will give you infinity. Infinity times infinity, of course infinity. So infinity under infinity, infinity per infinity, this is IDF. So in order to solve our IDF here, involving limit infinity, we need to divide with the highest power of the x. So you can see our denominator haven't expand. We expand it first so that we can see our highest power here will be equal to x squared. So expand this x squared, x3, 3x minus x will be 2x, then minus 3. So we will divide with the highest power from our denominator, which is x squared. And then we simplify our function. And we attempt our limit one more time. We find our limit one more time. So substitute our infinity here will become 0. So that will become 0 also over 1 plus 0 minus 0. So it is 0 over 1. 0 over 1 means 0. So same process, go for the limit approaches positive infinity. So we directly use the function that we already simplified because they're going to same procedure. So we use the function that we already simplified, which is this. Then try to substitute our infinity. So they give us the same answer here. So when we get this answer, means that what is our horizontal asymptote? We can conclude out our horizontal asymptote. It will be y equals to 0. So you can notice that x equals to that value, that will be our vertical asymptote. When we're doing our limit at infinity, our answer, this answer indirectly tell you it is our horizontal asymptote. So what is important marks here, we can see for the first part, our domain, 1 marks. This is our basic. Either you can write it at this form or you can write in interval form. And then finding our intercept. So this is our concept finding of x-intercept. And then answer, finding our y-intercept concept, let x equals to 0, answer. So when we want to find our limit, x approaches negative 3 in order to find out our vertical asymptote. So this is our concept to get to both answer vertical asymptote. So finally, our limit at infinity. So write out our answer. Y equals to 0 is horizontal asymptote.